From the Local 33 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jesse Gunkel. Thanks for joining us on Be Our Proud and also on our Facebook feed. We're going to continue to keep you updated on these evening storms. Obviously, a lot going on over the last, I would say, about an hour and a half. Obviously, we've got a new tornado watch out there to be concerned. In fact, we've actually got a confirmed tornado now making its way through southern Mississippi. Let's take a look at the big board here, and you'll see that we've got a tornado watch now in effect until 9 a.m. And that's mainly for areas north of the I-10, I-12 corridor. That includes east and west Baton Rouge Parish, Livingston, St. Helena, east and west Feliciana, Point Capee, our counties in southern Mississippi, so Wilkinson, Amite, and Pike, and also Tangipahoa Parish, and everything mainly north of Lake Pontchartrain. And I think the greatest concern is obviously a little bit further north, so we're talking Macomb up towards Natchez, Mississippi, and then moving up into the Jackson area, but also still a tornado watch extended out towards the west. Now, our tornado watch is until 5 a.m. Areas a little bit further west across central Louisiana and northern Louisiana until midnight at this point. So here's what we've got going on. There is a warm front out there, but that's actually kind of stalled out over the last hour, and that's going to bring us a little bit of concern maybe for some localized flash flooding across northern portions of the state. I don't know about so much for us. Yes, there may be some periods of heavy rainfall out there, but I think our greatest threat is going to be that potential for a tornado or two over the next couple hours. What we've had is some very long track supercells out there, and as you see that one making its way all the way across the state, I'm going to show you right here. We're talking from just a little bit across the Texas-Louisiana line, making its way just south of Alexandria, about 6 miles south. In fact, that's where they had a confirmed tornado on the ground. That was reported by law enforcement. A lot of damage in that area, significant damage, in fact, and then driving into areas now just south of Natchez, Mississippi, and obviously sliding just a hair outside of our viewing area, but it's getting very close to Wilkinson. But as you see this red box, that is that current tornado watch in place. We're also kind of keeping an eye on a couple little bands northwest, because what models are finally starting to agree on, our high resolution indication, is that a lot of this is going to start to fill in, and along that line, embedded in that line, where we could see some rotation, and that is going to be the concern going into the early morning hours, why they've increased that tornado watch until 5 o'clock in the morning. So here's what we've got going on. Temporarily, the capital area is quiet. We had some early light showers, but for the time being, nothing going on. However, I do want to point out that cell, as you see here, is sitting just a little bit south of Natchez at this point. They still sit underneath that tornado warning now until 11:30 this evening. So that's nearly another hour. That's basically for about an hour at this point. Concordia, Adams, and Franklin under the gun. And again, this is a confirmed tornado as we speak. And I just want to show you out there again, just kind of give you a little bit of an indication. You can see it obviously going to be making its way through Possum Corner just a little bit after 11. Luckily, there's not a lot of people out in that area. It's kind of a wooded area, kind of what they call, obviously, the wooded area, again, more of an area less populated, but Possum Corner, Ireland, we're talking somewhere early after 11 o'clock, Perrytown, 11:25, and then moving towards the Kirby area a little bit after that, moving just before midnight. But as you watch your FUTURECAST here, and you can see that cell drives through towards the northeast, moving at about 35 miles per hour. But as you see here, again, we're starting to see some agreement. I've looked at a couple different models, showing our in-house model, showing another model that's usually pretty good. That also agrees with some timing now between 1 o'clock and now most likely 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning for the capital area. You see around 2 o'clock, we're talking northwestern portions of the viewing area. Southern Mississippi, Point Capee Parish, so that includes cities such as New Roads, St. Francisville. We're talking anything down towards Opelousas and towards Acadiana at this point, and everything in between. By the time we get to about 3, 4 o'clock, that line moves through the capital area. I can back it up just a hair, show you that. And again, main thing is, yeah, as you see here, roughly around the capital area, around probably about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So give or take a little bit, could be an hour or two. And then by the time we get to about 6 o'clock, we'll quiet things down. However, we're still kind of at that tail end. We could even see an isolated thunderstorm or two develop as we head into the early morning, or excuse me, the afternoon hours of Thursday. I just want to see what's going on because we're kind of getting an update with the model run right now. So again, it is changing slightly, but it's kind of keeping our timing somewhere in that time frame of now 1 to about 5 o'clock in the morning, and then we start to see that clearing. So you're again watching this real time with me, kind of deciphering what's going on. So earlier today, they did upgrade us now to an enhanced risk. That's for northern portions of the viewing area. I also want to point out that they did also now put us underneath a significant severe area, and that is what happens is if we do get a tornado, and the concern is obviously that same supercell that's been walking itself across the state producing a tornado just a little bit south of Alexandria, well, that concern is that we could be seeing these long track tornadoes at about EF2 or greater for much of the area, and obviously that is one of the biggest issues out there, and that could be doing a lot of damage. I do also want to point out that there is that concern for damaging winds out there. Straight line winds can do just as much damage as a tornado in more of a widespread path. So here's what we've got, a little bit of a closer look, and just looking at your threat levels. We've got an enhanced risk for areas mainly north of the I-10, I-12 corridor. A little bit further south, we're talking a slight risk, and then just along the coastline, a marginal risk out there. Now, as we move along, you see that by the time we head into the morning hours of tomorrow, that threat shifts a little bit further southeast. So that really does include most of the viewing area as we speak. And again, all modes of severe weather are possible. We're talking large hail, isolated tornadoes, damaging winds, and all of this is going to happen a little bit later on in the evening. And that's the greatest concern because we are moving to a time period when everybody wants to go to bed, everybody wants to get some sleep. Well, here's what we've got going on. Just stay prepared. Make sure you have that cell phone on, have it next to you on your nightstand. Make sure the volume is all the way up. So if a warning goes off, if you go into your settings, you can actually make sure that your phone has those alerts, those wheel alerts, those ones that go you know what I'm talking about. You're talking about when somebody's abducted, a child abduction. Those type of alerts, they will kick off if there is a tornado warning in your area. So yeah, you can always turn that on. You'll hear that. You'll hear our warnings. We're going to continue to obviously keep you updated. You can also make sure you have, if you don't have it obviously now, but something for the future, make sure you invest in a NOAA weather radio because those are also very loud and they will definitely let you know that there is potential danger on the way. So have multiple ways to receive warnings. Maybe leave the TV on. That way if you're hearing a warning, you'll hear that alert crawling at the bottom of your screen. If you live in a mobile home, well, have a game plan. Also, before going to bed, obviously, have that plan of action for you. Find that interior room well away from windows and glass, that safe spot. It's usually a hallway, maybe a closet, a bathroom. Make sure your kids are on the same page just in case. If there is a tornado warning, you can always follow me on Facebook, and that's at meteorologist Jesse Gunkel. On Twitter, also at Jesse Gunkel. We're going to continue to monitor these storms, obviously, through the evening hours. We're going to have complete team coverage. We're going to have Ashley Ruiz being here. She's going to join me early in the morning along with Jasmine Lomax. So, again, if you have any concerns, and if you are watching us currently on Facebook, leave a comment below. We'll try to answer it for you. Again, the timing right now seems to be more so after 1 o'clock, moving into the early morning hours around 3. Once again, I'm going to jump back out of here just to kind of show you what we're talking about. And as you see here on your FutureCast here, so around 2 o'clock, well, this first wave, it's an isolated thunderstorm. We're talking mainly southern Mississippi. That main line starts to catch up around 2 a.m. as you see for far northwestern portions of the viewing area. As we move along, about an hour, 2 hours after that, we're talking around 3 o'clock. And you can see what we're talking here is the white and the reds and the dark purples. That is indicating that severe weather sliding through the capital area. By the time we get to about 3:30, we're talking St. Helena Parish, Tangipahoa, Livingston, Ascension, Assumption parishes, and then it starts to track a little bit closer to New Orleans and towards the lakes by the time we get to about 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. That's that first main wave that pushes through the capital area, and then obviously we get a little bit of a break, but there is that potential that we could see another thunderstorm or two develop as we head into the early afternoon hours of Thursday. After that, I think by around 4 or 5 o'clock, we should quiet down. And then we've got a lot of clearing after that. So again, I just wanted to show you the big picture out here. So far, nothing going on, but obviously we are monitoring a whole bunch of thunderstorms just north of here. And as you see here, I just want to give you an indication of some of these warnings. Also, flash flooding going on in a little bit of a path, a little bit of training going on towards areas you can see just around Martin, between just a little bit north of the Natchitoches area up to the Jonesboro area, Winfield, and then moving towards Monroe. They've currently got a tornado warning on the ground, and you can see this tornado warning is now in effect until 11 o'clock this evening. The other one is a tornado warning right now until 11 p.m. also for that area. So we're talking Caldwell, Jackson, and well, and this was, excuse me, is for wind. Just our system trying to catch up a little bit. This one's until 11:15 for wind. And is that Doppler indicated? Again, I believe that one is Doppler indicated. Kind of keeping an eye. Yes, Doppler indicated for that cell, along with the other one in northern Louisiana. So again, we are starting to see some of these cells rotate, and obviously that is one of our biggest concerns. These supercells hold together for long distances and can be quite potent, and that's why we're seeing these very significant tornadoes on the ground across portions of the state. I do want to jump out again a little bit here, so you're seeing exactly what I'm seeing right now. Let's jump out a little bit here. And again, this is the one we're watching that's a little bit closer to the viewing area, just on the outskirts, so just north of Wilkinson. And you still see that area of concern moving just south of Natchez, Mississippi. So moving across Highway 61 and eventually heading towards Roxy and over towards Highway 84 in Mississippi. So again, we'll jump into that and just kind of take a look at, let's see again here, what's the latest? Yeah, it still looks like there's a little bit of rotation. It's not as strong, but the concern here is also when you kind of look at the big picture here. Yeah, here you go. Our Doppler radar site is out of Slidell, so it's a long way away, and this is actually scanning the tops of the clouds, but they're still picking up some present rotation, which means it's most likely translating to the surface. And this is, again, that area that we're watching. What you're seeing, the bright reds versus the bright greens, it's those winds going in opposite directions, basically in directions that they're not supposed to be going. So you see the red kind of moving away along with the green kind of moving back. That's not what you really want to see. That for us as meteorologists, that just kind of shows us that we are seeing a little bit of a couplet out there that shows you that those winds are starting to circulate around that central point. So again, this is a very dangerous and possible significant tornado on the ground moving into Mississippi. I just want to see what's going on here, if they've got a new advisory. Yeah, it looks like severe thunderstorms in Wilkinson County. We're kind of keeping an eye on an outflow, because there is that potential that winds could be gusting up to about 50 miles per hour, heading a little bit southbound here, kind of watching that leading edge. And this is what the National Weather Service is currently watching. Again, that outflow. Let me flip it back here to our radar. So again, that there could be a couple strong wind gusts in areas north of Gloucester, and then moving a little bit further towards the east with the same isolated cell. So yeah, we're going to continue to monitor this situation as we continue to move forward, but just know that we do sit underneath that tornado watch until 5 a.m. That means we are far from done with this storm system. There could be a lot going on overnight, potential for that heavy rainfall. As I mentioned earlier, that all modes of severe weather are possible. We're talking long track tornadoes, and we're talking strong tornadoes, EF2 and greater. We're talking the potential for some damaging winds greater than 60 to 65 miles per hour. We're talking large hail, greater than quarter-inch diameter, and we're also talking that potential for some very heavy rain in pockets that could lead to a little bit of ponding on some of our roadways. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, I want to let you know that we're going to guide you safely through the overnight hours. Again, if you're following on Facebook, leave a comment below. Also, again, if you're following on our website, we're going to continue to keep it updated through the overnight hours and as we head into the early morning. As I did mention earlier, we do have complete team coverage. I'm going to be passing it off to the morning team a little bit later on this evening. So again, don't worry, we've got you covered. If all this starts to eventually move into the capital area, we'll have, again, all the information that you need to stay safe this evening.